Dude, what's up, everybody? It's Kayy Simone. We are now tuned into Champions Corner. I have two fellow 908 Plainfield girls in the building with us today.
Yes. Hello.
Hi. You guys want to introduce yourself?
My name is Davina from Plainfield, of course.
My name is Shayla from Plainfield, too.
And you guys are the creators, CEOs of
the Young Kings and Queens Mentoring Program.
Yes.
Nice.
We are a LLC now, so we're very, very excited about that.
Yes.
That's very big.
Thank you.
Very
Yes.
So what exactly is the Young King and Queen? Kings and Queens,
yes.
Queens
mentoring program. Mm-hmm.
So what is
So we're pretty much a mentoring program. We guide kids in Plainfield, other urban communities to become the best that they possibly can be. Whatever their path is, cultivating that and make sure they become who they say they want to be. Mm-hmm. Have that guidance for them, be that leadership, make sure that they have different paths to get to where they want to go, and feel their passion, fuel it. Be that drive. And then we have sessions to learn about different things: hygiene, self-awareness, self-esteem. Help me out a little bit.
Healthy communication.
Yes.
Body image, just the things that we all went through as kids. So it's for boys and for females, and we try to reach different populations. So not just going into school systems, but kids in group homes as well. Because those kids don't really have parents. Some of them are being separated from their parents. They're in foster care and they have to be placed there, or they've been in juvenile detention and they have to be placed in these homes. So they need the direction, they need the support, they need the guidance. So we try to help them in that way. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Where was the start place for that? Like, where did you guys start? Like, I'm just like, how do we even know too?
I'm thinking like, yo, how do you know that you want to just devote your life to be like a public servant to just help everybody else?
I speak first. So I've been helping people since kindergarten. I don't know if y'all remember that encounter with
we
Dominique.
We all went to school together, by the way, y'all.
Elementary school. Shout out to
elementary school.
So it's no longer up. The building has been shut down. Unfortunately, a piece of our history is gone.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I realized, I reflected like, oh, I really used to always like to help people. Mm-hmm. And the more that I got into the field, I'm in the field of education. So the more that I interacted with the kids, got to know them and stuff like that, it's like, man, they need guidance. Yeah. And they feel free to talk to me. So I'm like, there's something that has to be done here. Like, let's create something. So I was already thinking about it myself, putting things in alignment. I had the vision for like 3 years. I didn't move on it though, because I was moving. So I was in college and I graduated and stuff like that. Went to China and stuff. So it was like all like on the back burner. And then I had a event last year, back to school event, gave out 95 book bags to the community. And that was fun. The kids came out, they performed, they like danced, they sung. So it was dope. Like, they actually got involved and we had something for them in the community. And then later I'm like, okay, I'm still trying to get it off the ground. I ran into Shayla at work, and then we just put our visions together. And then it was like, okay, now we got the ball up and running, and we have contracts that we already signed for the year coming up. So that's how I got started. She has her own.
Yeah, she's being a little modest. I always like when she talks about when she went to China, because she went to teach and she did interviews and stuff. So I'm like, that's really, dope or whatever.
So you're like internationally famous.
Right.
Yes, something international. Okay, brown skin girl. No, but so before I was with Davina, I was in school for psychology for my bachelor's. So I knew that I wanted to work with people. Then I went to school to get my master's in social work. So then it got me into nonprofit and things like that. So I like developing programs. And previously I was working with the youth because I was teaching as well, but as an intern. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of feeling my way about what I wanted to do. And while I was teaching at the Boys and Girls Club, I was a team program coordinator. So there I also did the Girls Lead Female Mentoring Program. So I started with that first, and then that's when...
Shout out to the young ladies.
Yes, shout them out. And then Davina and I, we just ran into each other, and it was just like fate or something. It was so crazy.
It was definitely fate.
and we just put our visions together. She was like, oh, I've been thinking about a mentoring program. I'm like, I've been thinking about a mentoring program too. And
we literally took our laptops out and was working right there. Like, what works with what? Okay, this is the exact same thing. All right, I could work with you on that. Oh, you got that? Cool, let's add that.
Right.
You know, so we were just feeding off each other energy, and then we created our master program. Even the kids came up with the name. Like, I had the name already, but we was like, okay, like, let's see what they want. So we did a survey for the kids, and they picked the name. We gave them a couple of choices, and we sent the survey out, and they chose Young Kings and Queens. And that's how we got the title of our program.
Nice.
Yes.
That's awesome. So was the start of it like you guys having to go to these different facilities and homes and other nonprofits and introducing yourself and letting them know what it is that you do and see if they wanted to be a part of what it is you guys created?
Well, the best thing about us working together, we both play different roles. So she's a visionary. She's really good with the youth and speaking as well, but I'm more so with the program development. So putting the presentations together, that's literally the great thing about this is we're doing what we're passionate about. So I was having so much fun putting that stuff together, and we would just go into these places, these group homes and these schools, and we just with confidence presented our idea, and then they wanted us to come.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're grateful, definitely.
Right. So it was more so based off networking, like who you know and running into people. Like things have been aligning just by fate. Like it hasn't been like over. It's not easy. You know, you do get some yes, you do get some no's. Like even people that I thought would be like for us wasn't for us, which is okay because other doors open.
Right.
So as long as the door is not completely closed, we're fine, you know? So it still takes momentum. So just for anybody watching, like you will get some no's, you'll definitely get some yeses, but just keep your momentum and keep going. Absolutely. You know, don't lose faith in where you're trying to go. So that was what it was. We started networking, talking to people, letting them know our vision. And then, all right, we setting up meetings and stuff like that. We're reaching out to people, and that's how we got our start.
Nice.
What was the first event that you guys threw together as like a team?
So our first event, we went to Plainfield Outreach Community Center, which is on Cleveland Ave, and we did Boys and Girls Day. And we did a presentation. We called it the glow up because, you know, that's what the kids like to say. I glowed up. So we want to be relatable to the kids. And we talked about how we glowed up in our years. And they were so open about the issues that they were going through. And it was really touching because they got to open up so much. And they did this thing called My Mantra. So we had them make little quotes or saying to themselves, for instance, you know, in The Help where she did, I am smart, I am beautiful, and things like that. They got to create their own, and it was just some beautiful statements that they came up with, and they got to take it home and put on their refrigerators and share it with their parents. So that was our very first event that we did together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, not only that, it was just their feedback. We couldn't even get our stories out. They was already hands raised, very open. Like, kids don't always be that open. You know, they're kind of like reserved. So it was dope to see that, they're responding, they're raising their hand, they're trying to really connect and get answers for the situations that they're already encountering. And these girls was in middle school?
Yes.
We didn't even have elementary school to middle school, and they was still open. The middle school girls was really sharing, like, I'm going through this right now. I need help with this. And that was dope because you want to have that opportunity, create that space where they feel safe enough to communicate to you how they feel because they're not talking to their parents 9 times out of 10. So you need that guidance. You know, you need somebody to talk to that's above you, already had that experience, but still understands you and can relate.
Right.
That's why I feel like we need a lot more black educators in just our school systems, period. Not because, like, a lot of kids go through a lot of things, you feel what I'm saying? And we don't really like to open up about it, but if we see somebody that's, of course, they're not like our peers, but they're closer to us in age and they look like us, and we're more inclined to open up and talk to them about our different problems. That's why it really connected to me when you guys said, the middle school kids are opening up because you're closer to them in age.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you made them feel comfortable with the, all right, let's make something that's relatable to them. Let's tag the thing glow up. And then they're like, oh, okay, they're like us. They know our slang, they know our lingo. Now they're comfortable.
Right.
Now they're going to open up. Now I feel like that's really dope. What was the best event that you guys
Why are you taking my question?
Well, I think it's to come. I don't think we've done it yet. We actually have our second annual back to school drive that we're doing with a nonprofit organization, 908 Visionaries. Follow them on Instagram. Yes. And what it is going to be such a great event. We're going to have youth performers come. We're going to have the bouncy house, the cotton candy, and we're giving out book bags to the community. So we just want to provide this because we understand that it's needed. The youth need something that they can come to and get what they need, because a lot of the parents may not have the funds to get them book bags. Yeah. And one of our passions, even within what we do, the YWCA is not in Plainfield anymore. Right. The YMCA is not in Plainfield. All that's really left is the Boys and Girls Club. So we see the need and we just try to do what we can to fill the gaps.
Right. Are there any parents that get involved with what you guys do within like the schools, especially for females? It can be a little harder with the moms, and so how is that? Like, do you guys interact with parents at all?
Definitely. I had one parent stop me, like, can you talk to my daughter, you know, like take her out, whatever, spend some time with her, because she got her phone taken away. So it was a situation that she got in trouble, and her mom really reached out to me, like, can you contact her, you know, and stuff like that. So building that relationship. And of course, we want parents to be involved. Like, we'll have a parent session so that they come in, you know what's going on with your child, as much as we can, to keep that confidence or that that confinement between me and the child, or us and the child, and then also tell you what's going on, because you want to keep that trust. Absolutely. So definitely I love talking to parents, because it takes a village, and we need to reinstill that in the community. It takes a village. You can't do it on your own, because everybody has to be accountable for our youth. If you miss something, the person down the street, like I know growing up, everybody was looking out for us. Yes. You know, if you did something wrong, they telling your parents, you know, so we have to reinstill that in the community and stop allowing people to be so defensive. Yeah. Oh, my child didn't do that. Yes, they did. Like, I don't have to lie to you. I'm not against them. I'm for them. So, you know, as people in the community, having that connection with the parents is amazing. And they do. Some don't. You know, you have people that's very disconnected. That's why you need to reach the kids more, because there's that disconnection in between the household that creates the need for mentorship. Yeah.
How do you guys differentiate, like, or try to reach the males within your groups, being that you both are females?
It can be a bit of a challenge, but we do reach out to people that we know that are good examples in the community. So if we have a speaking engagement and we need that portion, or we need that male to be a part of it, we say, hey, can you, you know, fill in the gaps to reach this certain type of population? Because we want to not have anything held back from anybody that's in need, that's a youth. So we accommodate.
That's dope.
And honestly, like, sometimes I don't even have that problem, because I also work in a school district. So I keep it as real as I possibly can with all my students. So I'll have the boys come up and tell me, oh, this person smashed this, I'm thinking about doing this. Like, they'll really break down to me and be open. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm shocked. Right. You know? Right. I'm like, oh no. Like, no, you did not. That's not okay. You know, I will tell them, like, I'll really be honest with them and let them know, like, yo, this is true, this is not, you shouldn't do this, you know, respect this lady as this. Don't, you know, and they be like, all right, Miss Washington, you got it. I understand. Right. And I'm like, okay, cool. We just keep it like that. But I don't really have that boundary all the times in between the males, you know? So I'm grateful for that they feel confident that they could come talk to me too. Yeah. And that's 9th grade too, 10th graders. So listen, I work at Rutgers Up and Bound program. Right. They are. You know, and people need to be aware, especially with social media. Yes. They're exposed to so much. Things I wasn't even doing at that age, you know, but I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to just give them the facts. This is what can happen when you do this and that. You need to watch out for this. And that's it, you know. Try to give them the most information that they possibly can, because I feel like growing up, we was more so, don't do that. That's wrong. Like, without the why. Everything was just
black and white.
Right.
It was so
and
taboo,
it's just
like, we're not gonna touch on that.
Right. So I just feel like in the position that I'm in, working in the field, working in the education field, being a black person, being from an urban community, you know, that's a voice that I have to share with them. Like, listen, I've seen it. I've seen other people do it. I may not be a man, But I've seen other people encounter this, have this situation, have this, and a majority of my life I spent with guys. I have 3 older brothers. You know, so it's like that relatable aspect. I don't judge them because I've seen it. Like, I don't, you know, participated. Look, go bag this girl for me. All right, I got you. You know, like, so it's like having that, being real and raw with them is the key. No matter what their gender is, like as long as they feel like they can relate to you, they gonna open up.
How do you feel like, how do you deal with the pushback from the kids? Because we talked about, you know, pushback from the parents, but like, you know, sometimes kids are unresponsive whenever you're trying to teach them something or whenever you're trying to give them knowledge. How do you deal with the pushback from the unresponsive kids?
Well, thankfully, we don't really encounter that. I'm a researcher myself. I love looking at statistics and facts. So like we said with our name, we see what the kids want. So we don't discuss things just because we want to. Like, oh, this is what I think needs to be done. We ask them, what do you want to talk about? What do you need help with? So it's not that we're just making up these own ideas by ourselves. They're contributing to it. And we want them to be inclusive in everything that we do because it's for them. So they should have a voice in it.
Now, more so in the education community, like, you do get the pushback. But all I do is I tell them multiple times. I'll tell you what's the right, or you know, how you should move, what I suggest, because you're gonna make your own decision. And if you don't listen to me, you're gonna see for yourself. You know, I could pass you the rope, but you gotta want to be pulled in. If you don't want to be pulled in, you're gonna sink out there. You know, it's up to you to save yourself at this point because I already handed you the tools to swim. You know, so that's how I handle it. I let my hands go, and then you make your mistakes, and if you come back, you come back. If you learn, you learn, because we don't always learn the first time around. Absolutely. Sometimes we got to go through, we got to go through our own situations, you know, and that's how we learn more so than somebody talking to us, because we may not understand what they're talking about at that time. You be like, when you say, oh, do your work, like it's important, it's the foundation of your skills, like they like, what? I don't need this. You come back 5 years later down the road, you like, dang, I really should have listened. Yes. Yeah. You know, so you have some that listen at that initial point, and then you have those that have to get it along the road when they making mistakes.
So you mentioned social media and the influence that it has on children today. Body image is one of the messages you guys presented to the young women. How do you guys feel about social media and the way that body imaging is portrayed nowadays in our females?
Well, what I like about our session, I'll talk about that part first. Our session, when we do body image, for instance, we have a poster, and we put pictures of different types of women on there, short, Hispanic, Caucasian, African American, and we have them decide what is the best body or the perfect body to them, so that we see where their mindsets are, right. Because you know what may be perfect to one may not be perfect to another. Right. So we use celebrities, we use daily people to kind of see where they are, because we see that there's such an influence to have this hourglass shape, or you have to be light skin or dark skin, and so much colorism.
Or naked. You got to be naked. You don't have to be naked. You don't have to be naked. You don't have to.
Like, so that's what we really try to channel, to say you don't have to be like that through that one session. And social media is so powerful, so we use our social media to uplift Black, brown girls to love themselves and accept themselves, who they are, where they are in life right now. So, anything you want to add?
No. Just don't be naked. Like, that's just how I feel about that's how I feel about social media, because that's what it seems like it's portraying as women nowadays. Like, it's okay to be naked. Like, embrace your body. Yes, embrace your body. However, everybody does not have to see your body. Absolutely. You can cover up, and it's okay, because the less that you show, the more people are gonna be like, well, what she got under there, compared to more so, I seen it already.
Absolutely.
Right. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a wife, or do you want to be labeled as an HOE? You know, no offense to those who do. I'm just saying, when I speak to my guy friends, you know, if you pull up their social media, or you ask about yourself, your own social media, I pull up mine. What do you see when you look at mine? Oh, I see a wife. All right, cool. What do you see when you look at hers? Oh, I smashed that. You know, it's different, it's right? Yeah. So I try to teach the young ladies, like, you don't have to be what society tells you to be right now. and what's getting likes. You don't have to be that. As long as you know your worth inside of yourself, nothing can move you from there. And if that person doesn't accept you for who you are, that person is not for you, regardless of if it's a friend or a lover.
And we're really adamant about accepting yourself the way you are, because we're all different. We're supposed to be different. Everyone can't be hourglass. There's nothing special about that. You have to be you and I have to be me. Right. That's just the way that we were made, and we just have to accept ourselves in that. So we definitely promote that, because comparison is something you go through as youth, even in our age group, you know, comparing yourself, because Instagram is so big now, Facebook is so big now, Twitter, that now you can see what everybody else is doing, versus when we grew up, you were just doing your own thing. So the youth are going through a lot more than what we went through as children. Absolutely. So they definitely need our support and need somebody to tell them, you're beautiful the way you are. Hence, you know, everybody's like in the brown skinned girl thing. It was needed. It's needed in the community.
Yes.
It really was. What do you guys see as like the downside to everything that you have been doing? Like the troublesome side, the dark side that everyone might not see.
Sometimes it could be a burden. And what I mean by that is you take on these issues of the children because you care so much. Like when I work with kids, these are no longer just the parents' kids. These are my kids. I take on that responsibility to take care of them as well. So whatever you need, if you hit my phone and say, Miss Washington, I need this, or Miss Davina, I need this, I'm going to get it for you as best as I possibly can. So with that comes a lot of responsibility. And sometimes as kids, you know, we fail people. We fail the adults that reach out to us and want us to succeed, you know? So sometimes you got to balance out, all right, is this too much? Like, do I need to take a break and stuff like that? Because I am human too. I have my own stuff going on. You got your own life going on, but you take on this responsibility and you can't leave them hanging, you know, from what you're trying to instill in their life. So that's the main thing. Like, you could be weighed down from the emotional ties that you have to them, and then you sometimes have to take a little breather and a break, but you can't go too far because you don't want to lose them. Exactly. Because you already made that connection and that commitment, to that child to make sure that they good at all times.
Because it's like now they're looking for it,
right?
You think it's gonna always be there, so you want to keep the momentum.
Right.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you not take these problems home with you? But at the end of the day, in a field like this, you kind of have to. At the end of the day, because this job is not only from 9 to 5. This is like
all day, every day.
12,
yes.
24/7,
24/7,
like 365. Like, you can't really get a break.
No.
So how do you guys manage doing this and having a life outside of it?
I'll be honest with them. Like, I have a couple of mentees right now they're not even under the program that I just so happen to connect with, but they cling to me. So they call me if they need something. If they need a ride from dance practice, I'm picking them up, like all of that. So but if there's a situation where I can't, I'll be honest with them. I can't today. I have X, Y, and Z. I'm feeling some type of way, and they'll understand and that's why I call kids humans. They may think it's like degrading, but it's like, no, we human. I'm human too. I make mistakes just like you make mistakes, and that's okay, you know. But as long as you have that transparency with them, you should be fine. They'll understand. Some don't, but as far as I'm concerned, I haven't had one that hasn't been understanding.
And being from social work, what's really, really important is self-care. So you can't take care or help anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. So one thing, while Davina's in education, I work with mental health. So I was at a psychiatric hospital with kids at one point where there was behavioral and social and emotional problems. And you build these bonds with these kids. And it's hard when you see them hurting themselves physically, emotionally, through substance abuse and stuff. And it can be challenging not to take it home with you and not to care so much. But all you can do is give the knowledge and the support that you have to them. And even in the group home that I now work at, a lot of these kids are coming from traumatic situations with their parents leaving them. And even though everybody might not be in the group home, it's a lot of kids now not in that setting going through those type of things. And that's why it's so important for us to be sensitive to different things. A lot of kids, they act out, and a lot of people think it's just behavior, but there's some traumatic stuff going on in their lives. Mm-hmm. And just like Davina was saying that she's a parent, if you think about it, an educator is with your child as much as you're with your child. They're there for school almost more than half of the year.
Yeah.
So, it can be very concerning. And then even when I do the group home, it's a 24/7 hour care. So we are kind of like their parents. So it can be hard not to take it on, but all you can do is do the best that you can do as an individual and provide that support to them.
Without losing yourself.
Yes. That's where the self-care comes in.
I always say like interpersonal communication is so big, and I feel like interpersonal communication skills should be taught from the earliest of ages, like in grade school.
Yes.
Because in interpersonal communication, they teach you about emotional intelligence and things like that. So how do you kind of teach these kids how to not only, speak to their peers, but how do you teach them how to be emotionally aware about what they're feeling?
So with the kids, what I can say, I'm pretty sure we do it personally just through conversation with the kids and giving examples, but the kids like to be interactive. So lecturing is not gonna work all the time. That talking, they're gonna get bored. And they're not even going to retain the information. We do activities with them. So scenarios. So let's say we're teaching them healthy communication is one of our sessions. So when we do that, we'll say, this is the scenario. And I'll play this person and you tell me how you're going to react. And then we discuss the reactions. So they need that kind of stuff, those type of activities where they're actually applying it within their lives instead of just hearing it all the time.
Or one other thing we talked about was like we did an activity where you had to pick up things that you felt. So say if school was your stressors, say school was stressing you out and stuff like that, we picked them all up, and if you couldn't hold all the balloons at the same time, then you had to figure out, okay, well, how do I cope with my stresses? That's self-care, that's working on that emotional, that part inside. Like, okay, I have too much going on. How can I relieve my stress in a healthy way? And having them do it through kinetic learning, learning by doing, it helped them retaining, like, okay, this is what I can do. This is the opportunity I have to relieve myself of this stress right here. So having those hands-on activities helps them learn. And then also speaking from our experiences, letting them know our stories. I'm really transparent with them. Like, I will tell you what I've gone through. Like, I will tell them, and I have. And it's opened their eyes to certain situations and stuff like that, and how they can maneuver through certain situations, or they could end up in X or Y, whatever direction based off their reactions. So,
with you being in education, do you ever tie that into the things that you guys do, like as far as tutoring maybe, or any help that they would need educationally?
Of course, I teach them time management. Everything that I do in the education field. I'm not a real traditional educator. Right. Like, I keep it real with them. I'm very interactive. I let them go up to the board 9 times out of 10. You're solving a problem. I teach a lesson that's like 10 minutes, and then I'm sitting in the back. You guys are teaching each other, working on public speaking and things like that. So I teach them life skills within the content in this math class. Like, so it's rare to apply that. But within the education field, I always make sure that I always tie in life skills into what they're learning, so that they're not just learning math, because they don't be needing that sometimes. They don't even be wanting to learn that if home is not right. If home is not right, I'm not listening to nothing. If I don't got nothing to eat,
you can't.
I can't focus on that. Like, I can't focus on academics because I'm starving. My mom going through something real traumatic at home, and you telling me I have to learn this? I don't care about this right now. How you gonna fix my problem at home?
Come on.
So that's
start preaching. She started.
That's the truth. That's real.
It's the truth.
That's the truth. And I really had to stop teaching one time and ask my kids, what's going on at home? They opened up.
That was going to be my next question, too, because, like, how you said you had the activity with the stressors, and say if parent was one of the stressors, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you, kind of walk that fine line? Because, us as, like, African-Americans, we're not going to tell nobody how to raise their kid.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But how do you approach them and say, hey, your kid is feeling a little stressed at home. Maybe you guys should, work something out. Like, how do you approach the parents with something like that?
Just like that. But be humble about it.
Yes.
Like, I'm not against you. You make it clear, like, I'm not against you. I'm with you. We're a team. Mm-hmm. Your child feels comfortable. Like, it was a situation recently where one of my students ran away, and they was on a missing list or whatever. And so I had the contact information for the mom because I wanted to get my nails done. She do nails. Never hit her up. Never did it. But I contacted her, like, is everything all right? You know, I reached out to her and stuff like that. And then I asked her, is it okay if I contact your daughter concerning what's going on? Because we have that connection. You know, so having that, I'm not the parent. This is your baby. However, she feels comfortable talking to me about this. So is it okay? You make sure that you're humble about what you're going to ask, because sometimes people could be aggressive and defensive.
Yes.
And it's not that. It's it's not about you doing a bad job. It's more so about, it takes a village. I'm a part of the village, and we have that connection. And I know your child, just, and I'm just trying to help you, because I know, listen, I had people come up to me in Target, can you work with my son because he be doing this and I don't know what to do, and that's I think that's honorable. Like, I don't have no kids. Yeah, like, I don't even have kids. So for you to reach out to me and ask me, like, hey, could you help me with this situation? That's like, wow, like, you really entrust me with your child,
right?
So my best answer is that you be humble about it and just approach them soft-hearted and understanding, not boastful and aggressive.
I just think with the school thing is so important, because I don't know if we all can relate, but there's been times like when we've been in school, and when your teacher has a question on the board and they randomly pick you to go up, and you're like, I know the answer, I just don't want to get up.
Right.
Like, I'm scared. I don't know what people are going to think about me, my body, or are they going to laugh at me?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, stuff like that is really important for kids to know. Like, you have to start to learn it everywhere you go. Even if you're doing a math problem, you have to speak the right way. You have to stand the right way. You have to.
And also, I encourage them, like, to be confident. And then I encourage the peers, like, to be supportive. Yes. That way, when you come into this classroom, we're a family. Yes. Like, there's no division. Like, we're all on the same team. We're all accountable for each other's learning. And with that, they feel free to go up and say, I don't know this. All right, I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to coach you through it. However, you going to stand up here and do the work. And they'll feel, and it build their confidence. Okay, I don't like going up. You're going to go up today. Because you're going to get this. We're going to work on that public speaking. You're going to use the right terminology right here for this class, so that you are knowledgeable and you have that confidence, and you also know how to speak in public. Because that's a skill that we have to learn, Whether it's in a room of 4 or 10 million, like, you don't know. But you always have to be prepared, and that's a step to being prepared for life beyond the classroom.
Now, I can tell Miss Washington is the cool teacher. She the cool one. Like, they can't wait to get to her class. And I know for me, like, math, I hated math with a passion, like, horrible, right? But I did the best I ever did in my math class in, like, any kind of grade school was geometry. Sophomore year, right? I had a teacher named Miss Matthew. Shout out Miss Matthew, right? She was real raps, and, like, she did some of the things that you talk about. Like, she'll teach the lesson, but now we have to interact. That's what smart boards was real popping. So now we got to go to the smart board. Now we got to do the word problem. We got to, find the hypotenuse with the word, like, a whole bunch of weird stuff, right? But it just taught us so much. It taught us to, like, we wasn't thinking about it, but it taught us how to be comfortable with getting up in front of the class and solving a problem, knowing that we know the answer. Because, some people know the answer and they'll go up and they'll just freeze.
Right.
You feel me? So it just gave us a different kind of confidence. So I see a lot of, like, that teacher in you. You feel what I'm saying?
That's good. That's good.
It's
See,
good
I'm just honored to the teachers. That was great ones. Appreciate you.
How did you get into working with the social work? You said you work for a mental group.
Yeah, it's a group home that I work for. So, I came across going to the psychiatric hospital first. And I just knew I wanted to work with kids just from having the experience as a teacher intern. So I said, well, this is my field. This is what I want to do. And I was just starting my master's program. So you get to choose a track if you're going to go clinical, if you're going to go nonprofit management. So I was trying to get a feel through some experience about what I wanted to do. And just encountering those children, they're the same as any other child. They just happen to go through some really crazy and traumatic stuff. And you see a lot. You see suicidal behavior. You see behavioral problems. You see substance abuse. You see ODing. It's really, really heart touching. Yeah. So it kind of humbles you as well to be grateful for where you are in life. And what your upbringing was. So, you know, I built some definitely great connections with the kids. It was great when you walk in and they're excited to see you, because they only live in those 4 walls and that's it. So having any type of contact from the outside world where they see that you care about me after everything you went through, it really touches your heart. So then after that, I went into a group home, just group homes, and it's still the same thing, working with the young ladies. It's all females.
But they're not in a facility, they're in an actual
home. Okay. So working with them, it's like being with your younger sibling, but they just have these traumatic experiences and they have real questions like, how do you do things with feminine products and things like that? They don't have parents for this kind of stuff. So it's an honor to be there and to help them and to guide them on their path. So that's why I'm so excited about us doing the program with the group homes, because they need us. They really need us.
Open with you as they were with.
Oh yes, a little too open sometimes. I'm like, okay, I didn't need to know about that. And they'll be like, oh, Miss Shayla, I went and I did this today, and I'm like, were you supposed to be doing that though? I'm pretty sure you were supposed to be in school. So, you know, but of course, like Davina was saying, you don't bring any judgment. You're there to be a ear, and sometimes they don't want advice. Sometimes they want somebody to listen. And so many times people don't ask them, like how she stopped the class and said, you know, what's going on? So many people don't do that. They just say, oh, she got an attitude. Oh, she want attention. And it's really not that. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. Deeper. So even just people who aren't doing this, if you see a child within, of course, the appropriate setting and something doesn't look right, ask them what's going on. Right. Because people don't ask them that. And so they stay so close. So, you know, building those relationships with the kids, it really means a lot. And being able to help them within their process of development, it's such an honor. So,
do you guys find yourself bringing your personal life into their situations in ways that they can relate, rather than just using like the posters, and you guys get deep into what it is?
Yes. I'll pull a kid to a side and just be like, listen, I've been through this. If it relates, only if it relates to this situation. Oh, yeah. But I wasn't perfect. I wasn't the perfect child growing up. So I shared that with them. Like, listen, I've experienced some things that you may not think I have, but I have. So let me show you what it could be like, you know, what you may want to avoid. So definitely I come out and I tell them, like, listen, I've been through this. But you got to judge in those situations where you can, especially working in my field. Because in the education field, you can't really do much. It's so many limitations on you, and it's like, that's why I'm not sure if I want to continue.
Right with our
yes, because the limit doesn't exist with Young Kings and Queens mentoring program.
Yes,
but the limitations that's set is like, I can't, because sometimes the kids need a hug. You know, like it's just certain things that you don't want to break free from. With that, but definitely I do start tapping into my personal life. I like to be honest with them, very transparent.
And when we were going to school, we had a gym teacher named Mr. Ricks.
Oh,
God rest his soul. Yes. I miss Mr. Ricks so much because he was so parallel to us. It was ridiculous, to the point to where Mr. Ricks will pull you by your damn ears and be like, go sit in the corner. But it's like we couldn't hate that because it was some of us really needed it. Yeah. Like, and we were, like you said, a big family at Woodland. So if I see this one over here getting their ears pulled, like I'm laughing, but at the same time, it's like it's all love. And like I know Mr. Ricks knew that you needed that type of love. You might not have been getting at home, so I'm gonna give it to you right here. So it's really important that you guys do things like that, which is awesome for the kids.
Yeah.
It's the teachers that really make the difference. They play such a big role. And they don't notice it. You know, the kids don't notice until, you know, you grow up. Even the teachers, I'm sure all of us remember that one teacher that always got on us. At that time, we didn't like them. Yes. But today we're like thankful and grateful that they did get on us, because they taught us things that we really needed to learn at that time. So
no, it's fine.
I wanted to ask, how difficult is it for you guys to not bring what you're dealing with outside into the workplace? Because I know we all go through a lot of stuff. It weighs on us pretty heavy. So, like, how do you kind of like check all your problems? Like, you put it in the bag and leave it.
You wreck yourself.
You're supposed to check our problems and leave it at the door when we walk into the place of work. So, how do you guys kind of manage that? Listen, I know it's hard because then you're gonna bring your problems into the workplace, and then it's your problems, and then it's their problems. Right. Now we just got a pile of just dirty clothes. It's your brother and your sister dirty clothes mixed together.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? How you guys deal with that?
Well, what I like to do is, like I said, I'm transparent. So some situations where I know like it's affecting me to the point like it's affecting how I'm interacting with the kids, I'll be honest. Like one time, my cousin passed away last year. It was the end of the school year. The kids was a little rowdy. So I told them, like, you know, I'm going through something. I'm here. I want to be here. Like, I want to be here with y'all, but I need, like, for y'all to just work with me, you know? And it was like, okay, like, they understood because they know, like, if you're anybody that you know has been passed away or been murdered or something like that, they like, oh, I understand because I know so-and-so down the block, excuse me, had the same experience or whatever, right? So they had that grace, you know, like, for me. So I like to be transparent about it, or before I get to work, I'm listening to some music that's going to amp me up and change my mood before I go in there and encounter them, you know? Because sometimes you're working with kids is a challenge. Like,
yes. Imagine.
I know that was a challenge, so I know. Trust me.
Yes, and I'm a written all over my face type person. I have no poker face whatsoever. Even if I try to like play it off, you could tell something's wrong. Like what's going on with your face? So I got to do like little pep talks with myself. Like okay. And then just refocusing on what the mission and the vision is and what I'm there for. Right. And once I'm able to refocus, I'm able to, you know, it's best to focus on what you're doing because then it makes you forget about what even upset you in the first place. So just being able to do that.
And sometimes they'll just go out their way to make your day. Like,
yeah, they will.
I love my students for real because sometimes you wouldn't even expect some of the things that they'll do, like drawing pictures for you. Like the other day, I was just playing. One of my students came into the room. Well, my former student, he came into the room and he had snacks for the other kids. I said, "Where my candy at? Where my candy at?" You know, he came back with a candy bar. Like it was, you know, like something so small but something so meaningful. I was just playing, you know. He really went out and was like, "Oh, let me get that for you." So it's nice to have that connection because it's like they love you just as much as you love them and care for them, you know. So it's just beautiful.
How do the elders of where you guys work, like with your social work and with education, how do they feel about you guys coming in and you basically stepping on their toes a little bit? Yeah. So how do they feel about your positions and where you guys are?
Well, in my workplace, I'm actually getting a lot of support with the business because I'm pretty sure, you know, being an entrepreneur and doing things like this, you will get people that will not support you. And, you know, sometimes it can be frustrating because so many different things are promoted. You're like, you know, this is for the youth. This is for the community. So sometimes you have to block out and channel out the ones that don't support you. But thankfully, with my workplace, I do have people that support me. So, you know, then I feel comfortable talking about the events and things like that.
Same.
Can I ask a question? Like, you spend most of your time giving other people advice. Is there ever a time when you wish you had someone to give you advice through what you go through in life also?
I do. Well,
I do too.
I do. I have people, you know. Yes. I have mentors. I have people that I talk to about things that I may encounter through my life. So I'm not, it's like passed down. Like, you know, the information is passed down. So what I receive from other people, I give. We are always learning. We're in life to grow, you know, to be educated. So not, and I'm not talking about like school wise, but I'm talking about life, like having that experience. So you always have to connect to somebody. Like you can only go to the wise to get wisdom. Like you don't know everything, and I'll admit that I don't know everything, you know, but I'm resourceful. And that's the goal, to be resourceful. So yes, I do have people that I go and talk to about what I'm dealing with and things that I may not have encountered yet, but I did now, and I need that assistance because everybody has to have somebody that they communicate to help guide them through their life.
Yes, and I feel like especially being in the field we are in and having a business, you can't do it by yourself. You need help. You need some type of support, some type of mentorship. So we have people that we go to for our professional stuff and people that we go to for our personal stuff. Yes. Because, you know, even coming into the limelight or the spotlight with what you do, you're being put on the spotlight too, and your character has to be right. Your attitude has to be right, especially we're going to be in front of kids. So if we see that something within ourselves is hindering us from getting where we need to get with these kids, we check it, and we go to the appropriate people to say, hey, what do you think about this?
Yes.
How should we carry this out? How should my attitude be with this? How should my character be? Because character is really everything.
Yeah.
So I know that I also go to certain people as well, and it really levels out how to do certain things with the business and with my personal life.
And it keeps you humble.
Yes.
Because there's a difference. Have you ever encountered like a teacher or somebody in a position of power where it's like, I can't relate to you, I never did anything, that type of mentality. Yes. But I pray to God every day that I remain humble in my position, because I don't want to lose myself, and remember how hard I worked to get to where I am today and to become the person that I am today, and who supported me through that process. So that's really important, to remain humble. Yes. And understand, like, listen, you're not better than nobody. Nobody's better than anybody. So
a couple shows ago, we talked about maintaining your mental health while trying to pursue a career. And we talked about how important it is for people to know that there are people out there that they can go and talk to. Therapy is not a bad thing.
Yes.
I really think you be in my head, bro. I was really about to say, how you guys feel? I was really about to say to him, like, yo, how you guys feel about therapy? And it's just crazy how she just brought that up.
I was going to ask how I feel about therapy, but I just want to know, for the people our age who may not know where to find these resources, where would you tell them to start?
Well, there's so many resources in the community, actually. But one thing that lacks, I went to a service providers group, and all of the community members were saying that we don't really have a lot of child therapists in Union County or in Plainfield in general. It's so much going on in Plainfield with the homelessness population rising, with the YMCA closing. That's where a lot of the homeless people resided. And then when they did have shelters, it's in Elizabeth, but now they're filled up. So, just being able to have those resources and referrals is something that's very beneficial. There's places like Plainfield Action Services, they do things. Boys and Girls Club that does things. And hopefully one day we'll be able to be an avenue that people can come to get resources. But we have personal and professional resources. So we always, like Davina was saying, giving out information. That's what it's really about. Why am I holding information?
Yes.
Give it back to the community that needs it.
Yes.
So how do you guys feel about therapy?
Go.
I'm for it.
I'm for it too.
Oh my gosh.
I went, just to be transparent, I've went before and it has helped. It's not even about what the people say to you. It's you working through your own problems and realizing who you are, how you feel about this, how you feel, you feel like you had an emotional climb there, bring it back down, like control, being aware of yourself.
And people, they're just saying it out loud. It makes sense.
Right. They just guide you through the conversation and ask the right questions, pose the right questions. That's all. So I am 100% for therapy. Go. It's a lot of people in the African American community, like, it used to be frowned upon to go.
But I was just gonna say that.
No, be free and go. Who cares? Who cares about anybody else? You need your help. Get your help. It's all right. Yeah. It's really okay.
Oh my gosh, just talking about the mindsets of our community, it's like, it can be such pride there when it comes to therapy. Like, I don't need help. And it's like, even it's instilled in the kids because, they're following after their role models. So it's like, we definitely promote therapy because it's needed. Everybody at one point needs somebody to go to rechannel what they need to be thinking, having the right thoughts. So I definitely support therapy.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys for coming today.
Yes, awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
This is an amazing tandem right here. Like, you could tell,
thank
like,
you.
they're
Definitely.
two kind of different people, and when they come together, they form like one kind of like powerhouse. Like,
thank you
so much.
We definitely need more of what you guys are doing.
Please,
so I'll
please,
commend
please.
you for doing everything you're doing.
Thank
Definitely
you,
have my
thank
support.
you.
We're from the same area, but
Yes.
most importantly, because we're women, Black women,
Yes.
at that. So you guys
Thank
wanted to
you.
shout out your Instagram so everybody know where to find you guys.
Young Kings and Queens _
And we are having our second annual back to school drive, which is going to be in Cedarbrook Park in Plainfield, New Jersey on Saturday, August 24th.
You don't want to miss it.
Yes, it's free. We're giving back book bags with school supplies. It's going to be a bouncy house, food,
talent,
performers,
vendors.
Yes. So please come out.
Bring your kids, of course.
It's for
Bring the kids.
Bring the babies.
Yes. Do not hide your kids.
Bring the kids out.
It's for the community. So please come, please.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we are out of Champions Corner for today.